Okay, everybody. This week what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to render trees. So I guess I should start from a clean slate here. Your desktop, again, I'm sorry, your Photoshop interface is probably going to look a little bit different than mine. That's because I have 18 and the school district only has 17. But nonetheless, they still work all the same. So a little bit about the trees inside of Photoshop. I'm not going to ask you to directly draw the trees because, drawing them is a skill in and of itself. We already have the ability to add trees. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to tap into Photoshop's trees that they have in stock, and we're going to manipulate them. We're going to change the leaves, we're going to change the color, we're going to change the branches. So you know what you know already in Photoshop, and you know we can manipulate a lot of stuff. So we're going to start off by doing that. This week's lessons is actually I'm only going to show you two brand new things. The trees that I'm fixing to show you is one of them. But what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to render the trees, but on the flip side of it, you're going to incorporate everything that you've learned the last 2 weeks. So think back to puppet warping, think back to turning text into shapes, think back to adding a stroke, think back to adding drop shadows, to adding color fills, all that stuff. That's just going to come back on you by the end of this week for this test. Okay, so keep that in mind. If you're a note taker, you go ahead and get ready. What's new is this week I'm actually having a recording, so you can go back, take notes, you can rewatch stuff. So the first thing we're going to have to do is to create a new document. I'm not going to go here because you probably don't have this. What I'm going to do is I'll go to File, New. I'm sorry, my nose is a little stuffy, just got done sneezing. Instead of going to default Photoshop size, we're going to go to we're going to go to Photo Landscape 4x6. All right, Photo Landscape 4x6. Now, in the background contents, I want you to click this little down arrow and I want you to select black. Okay, so we want our document to be black. So go ahead and hit create. Okay, so now we have a blank document, a black document, black blank document. Sorry. We got to get really good. But first thing we're going to do is add a layer. But we got to get really good, and I also involve myself in this. We have to get really good at naming our layers, because by the time you know it, all the stuff that we're working on, we could end up with like 10 or 12 layers. So it's really good practice to go back and start labeling our layers. So that new layer that you just created, go ahead and name it tree. Okay. So the next step after this is we're going to go to filter, and we're going to go down to render, and we're going to go to tree. Now, just a quick heads up, I'm only going to have these videos for about 4.5 minutes long. This one's fixing to be over, but this is the box you see when you render a tree. Okay, I told you it has a bunch of trees already built into it. All we have to do is just tap into it. Now, the first one, I think when we were in class on our version of Photoshop, I think number 3 is the default, or for this version of Photoshop, it's number 1. But whatever. I want you to click this drop down, and I want you to go down to number 17, the cherry blossom. Okay. The reason I'm picking this one is because you could see a lot of different effects from the purple leaves. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this recording, and I'm going to pick back up here on the next recording.